All of us knew the time was coming when the X-Men would join the MCU. We just didn't know exactly when that time frame would be or how it would actually happen. Welcome to the Chaos Multiverse, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos, we may have a lot of clarification on how that's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and what type of rated movie it may actually happen in. Welcome, everybody. Do me a favor. Turn on those notifications if you're into everything Marvel, pop culture, Star Wars, and join us. Thank you so much for 5,000 subscribers. Now, we're on our way to 10. Thank you to everybody who subscribed and is part of the channel. So today, we are going to talk about, yes, Wolverine, a rated R movie, when it could actually be happening, and how they could actually be introducing Wolverine into the MCU, which would be the stepping stone in opening the door for the X-Men. So we're going to cover all of that. It's kind of a two-part thing. First is rated R. Let's talk about rated R, not specifically just for Wolverine, but when it comes to Marvel movies. Now, Kevin Feige has expressed that he wants to dive into that realm. He knows that the age of a lot of Marvel fans is way above the age of a kid. Most of them are adults. Most of them are in their 20s to 30s, and he wants to capitalize on that. And with IPs coming up like Deadpool 3, you could have Ghost Rider in the future, you could have The Punisher, you could have Wolverine. Those are much better told on a rated R canvas, and Kevin Feige knows this. He sees everything. Trust me, he does. He saw what the Joker did as a solo movie, a rated R movie, and he wants to take advantage. But apparently, there is some pushback when it comes to that, because everything is PG-13 for the most part on the live action movie screen, and there's no blood. You don't see blood in most Marvel movies. Now, that's not always the case, because if you look at Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we did have blood when it came to that series, but that was also over on Disney Plus, which is a separate platform. Maybe they feel like they have a few more creative liberties over there. Not for sure what the debate goes on in the big boardroom when it comes to that, but Kevin Feige wants to go rated R with some of the movies that make sense. And what movie makes the most sense when it comes to being visceral? Well, Logan was a rated R movie, and some consider it to be the best X-Men offering we've ever gotten. So, what would you do with Wolverine if you made him PG-13? What would you do with Deadpool if you made him PG-13? I don't like the fact that Venom Let There Be Carnage is PG-13, although they say it's going to push the boundaries of PG-13. That's not the point. Some of these IPs need to be able to express themselves in a rated R fashion. That's not a bad thing. Rated R isn't a bad thing, it's just a rating. This was reported on by Giant Freaking Robot, talking about how Kevin Feige wants to go down that road, and specifically when it comes to Wolverine, and that kind of transitioned into the next news. It is looking like we could see our introduction into the X-Men through the Wolverine in 2024. This is an article over on Giant Freaking Robot, and it was reported on by Geekosity Mag. And they said that they are looking at a window in 2024 to bring a solo Wolverine movie. Now, they say solo up front. It won't stay solo. Trust me, Wolverine is one of the biggest IPs Marvel has. They weren't going to let him sit on the bench very long, and I promise you, he's in the same vein as Iron Man and Thor and Captain America. Iron Man was in how many Marvel movies? A lot. So was Captain America. Captain America as just the superhero is going to have a Captain America 4, which we'll talk about in a second. The point is, there won't be one Wolverine movie. But what better way to usher in the beginning of the X-Men than doing it with Wolverine? Now, we know a little bit about 2024. We expect that to be the beginning of Phase 5, and there's 2 empty slots in there. Now, we know a Captain America 4 film is coming with Anthony Mackie, and we know Deadpool 3 is there as well. So the 4 dates we have in 2024, February 16th, May 3rd, July 26th, and November 8th. 2 of those, Captain America 4, Deadpool 3. What about the other 2? Well, it's being reported that one of those could actually be the Wolverine. And a lot of people they say, well, why not just do an X-Men movie and introduce everybody and mutants into the MCU, and then we'll just be there and it's super fast and we have it. That's not how Marvel does it. They are methodical. They slow drip their IPs. They build up the backstories to a bigger purpose. They are not going to just introduce the X-Men. It's not going to happen. It's not the same thing as a Fantastic Four, which is an entity together. They kind of have to be together. I don't think you go the route of having an origin story for each Fantastic Four member because their origin story was as a group. The X-Men, that's a total different deal. You can do origin stories for multiple big hitters before you ever actually introduce the X-Men as a team. So how would you bring the Wolverine in the MCU? Well, they talk about it. And they talk about doing the Immortal Hulk version of it. That's right, from the actual comics where Wolverine was first introduced. He actually fought the Hulk. And that's what they're talking about this. We'll find out more in the She-Hulk series on Disney+, but it could be very likely that he actually has to fight the Hulk. And in the comics, then the attention would turn to his big villain, Thunderbolt Ross, who we know is going to be part of the MCU moving forward. He transforms into the Red Hulk, and then the Hulk and Wolverine have to form an alliance to take him out. That could be the beginning of the X-Men, and it all kind of goes back to the subtle nod of the Hulk issue 181, which is a super popular comic issue, 1974, a big key issue, and if they do it that way, I think people would be happy with that. I do. Now, we know Mark Ruffalo's character has kind of pushed aside Professor Hulk, but we also know he can kind of manipulate it as he wants to now. So, if he does the Immortal Hulk version, and that's how Wolverine gets introduced, I'm okay with that. And what better way to start Phase 5 than making it kind of the phase of the X-Men to get the party started and bring them into the bigger picture if we do end up getting Secret Wars down the line. I mean, you have to bring them in somewhere, right? Eventually, all these teams and entities have to come together for the greater good against the big bad villain, whether that's Galactus, Doctor Doom, Kang the Conqueror, all of them, who knows? But I think this is pretty exciting. So let me know, are you ready for Wolverine in 2024? It would also coincide with the Marvel Wolverine video game that's coming out. You could cross-promote both. And the bigger one is, they like their dates. That's 50 years, a 50-year celebration of the Wolverine character. It all makes sense, right? Why not? Make it number 50 and introduce him to the MCU. The big question is, who's going to play Wolverine? It's not going to be Hugh Jackman, so who's it going to be? You guys let me know what you think. Let me know if you want it to be a rated R movie or a PG-13, and I'll see you soon.